Greetings. This is Caleb's Corner with your friend and host, Caleb Santos. I'm here to share with you some interesting things about boxing, and we have a trivia question. But before we move on, I want to just give a little bit of a shout out to the LA Dodgers. They beat my favorite team, the Yankees, but that's all right. They're still next year. But they did play a good game, and I wanted to congratulate the LA Dodgers and its fans. It was a great game. It was a nail biter, that's for sure. I thought that my team was going to pull it off, the Yankees, but the LA Dodgers went and won the series. Well done. You guys deserve the victory. But there's always next year, so don't count the Yankees out. Anyway, let's share some things. I'm going to share some things about boxing, and I want to come with my favorite list here. My top 10 world champion heavyweight favorites. My top 10 world champion heavyweight favorites. And I have a trivia question. Who was the first heavyweight to win the world heavyweight title 2 times? Who was the first heavyweight to win the world heavyweight title 2 times? Okay, so without much ado, let me proceed to my top 10 heavyweights. Number 1 is Muhammad Ali. He's the one that I would nominate to be my number 1 champion, world champion. I think Muhammad Ali was in the class in itself. He was truly the greatest. He had some quick hands, and he could move fast, and he had strategy. He was a smart man as far as boxing is concerned. And I think his shining moment came when he fought George Foreman in Zaire, Africa, as the Rumble in the Jungle. And I liked when Ali used to hype up the fight, and he had a name for his opponents. He called Sonny Liston the Bear, he called Floyd Patterson the Rabbit, and he called Foreman the Mummy. And he was always running his mouth, and I think his shining moment again came when he fought George Foreman in Zaire, Africa, and George Foreman came at him. And I'll be honest with you, I was a little skeptical whether or not he was going to win. I was concerned that he was going to get hurt because if you look at Foreman's background back in the 70s, he demolished completely Joe Frazier. He demolished completely Ken Norton. And he was like Destruction Incorporated. And I said, oh my Lord, he grabs Muhammad Ali. That's it for him. But Muhammad Ali fought a good fight. He had strategies. He did that rope-a-dope. And I remember him when he was being interviewed, that he was talking about how Foreman was swinging and swinging hard and everything. And then he would say, he would cover up and he says, "Is that all you got, George?" Imagine somebody hitting you with all they got, and then you telling them, "Is that all you got?" And let me tell you, Ali used strategy. He used psychological warfare. He wore him out, and he won the champion. And that's something to, I think that was his most defining moment. I think that basically, Muhammad Ali had missed the chance to retire. He should have retired. He wouldn't have been faced with all his health problems. I think that was the perfect time for him to retire. But he stayed in the ring. He started getting punched in the head. He had that fight with Joe Frazier, the Triller in Manila, that really wore them out. And then he had that fight with Ernie Shavers. And he said that, Muhammad Ali said that Ernie Shavers is the hardest hitting fighter. And let me tell you, they say that some people believe that really put him in a place where he started getting worse. I mean, he had already been suffering from symptoms of Parkinson's, but from what I understand, but that fight with Ernie Shavers really got him into a bad place. And it was a shame because a great champion, but he stayed in the ring too long. And he didn't really need that money. He had lots of money, but he just liked to stay for the adulation, the love of the sport. But Muhammad Ali is the number 1 in my list of top 10 heavyweights. The number 2 one is George Foreman. George Foreman is my number 2. He had a shining moment when he fought Michael Moore in the 10th round. He was losing on points, but all of a sudden he came back and whacked him with a punch, split his lip, and knocked him out. And that was his defining moment. He was around in his late 40s, early 50s, I believe. People were sportcasters were making fun of him. They were laughing because they figured that he had seen better days. But let me tell you, he proved his critics wrong, and he came back to win the championship. And George Foreman, in my opinion, deserves the number 2 spot. Plus, he went on to become a successful businessman. He started to sell the George Foreman grill, which me and my wife use. I don't use it that much. My wife uses it more than me, but it's a good grill, and he made millions of dollars. So he retired just in time. But I saw him in a video, 75 years old, and he was preparing himself, training in the gym, and he was just punching and strong as an ox and doing great. He was doing a lot of exercise, and that man, he just amazes me. At 75 years old, still going strong. So George, you deserve the number 2 spot, in my opinion. The number 3 spot is Joe Louis. 10 years as champion. He won the championship, and nobody could defeat him in about 10 years. I believe it was around 10 years. But unfortunately, he couldn't stay retired. The IRS was hounding him for back taxes. So he came back to fight Ezra Charles and was defeated by unanimous decision. He went on to fight Rocky Marciano, and he got destroyed by Rocky Marciano. And but those are fights that I guess he had to do it because he had to pay the IRS. But Joe Louis, in my opinion, deserves the number 3 spot. I think Joe Louis would have given Muhammad Ali a run for his money because Ali had the signature phrase, float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. But let me tell you, he always had problems with left-handed fighters. And Joe Louis had a wicked left hand. And I think that Joe Louis would have given him a run for his money. So I think that Joe Louis deserves the number 3 spot. Muhammad Ali always had problems with left-handed fighters. He had problems with Henry Cooper, and he had problems with Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier knocked him down with a left. So, and I could relate to that because when I was in the U.S. Navy, I have my Navy hat, by the way. I served 4 years, and I did put on some boxing gloves and nothing serious, but I boxed with a friend of mine, and he was a lefty. Let me tell you, I never did see that left. My head was bobbing like this, up and down, and he had a left jab, and I mean, I tell you, fighting a left-handed fight, if you're a right hand, if you are used to fighting right-handed and you have a lefty, God help you, because those southpaws, they hit. They can hit. The only thing is, if you have a good manager and you could be watching where they're hitting you, when they're going to get that left, you could connect at the same time because they tend to leave themselves open. But a southpaw is a very dangerous person in the ring, let me tell you. But anyway, it reminds me of the Rocky movie when he was fighting Apollo Creed. His manager wanted him to go left southpaw, and towards the end of the fight, of the second fight that they had, because he was protecting that eye, but I think it was either Rocky or his manager that he started to use the southpaw stance, and that's when he started to win the fight in the Rocky movie. So left-handed fighters, southpaw fighters are dangerous. Okay, the number 4 spot is Rocky Marciano. He fought the best, including Archie Moore. He was a true champion, had the heart of a lion. He would just stay on you and keep on coming at you. Let me tell you, Rocky Marciano deserves the number 4 spot. I think he would have also given Muhammad Ali a run for his money. I remember that computerized version of the fight that he had with Muhammad Ali, and I think they did 2 versions, if I'm not mistaken. They did one where Rocky won, and they did another one where Ali won. So it was computerized, and I think you could see it on YouTube. It's an interesting fight. All right, the number 5 spot will go to Jack Johnson, the first African American heavyweight champion. He beat Tommy Burns. Now Tommy Burns was 5'7", and Jack Johnson was 6'1". So, but Tommy Burns got defeated by Jack Johnson, and you got to remember it was the Jim Crow era, and African Americans were mistreated, and he was the first African American to win the heavyweight championship, and he was ahead of his time. He started to date these white women, and he would humiliate his white opponents, kind of like Ali taunting his opponents. And people paid big money to see him defeated. And they managed to persuade Jim J. Jeffries, who was a world heavyweight champion. He retired. He was undefeated. He was a strong guy, and he retired. And the population, the society, the Jim Crow society, started to beg this guy Jim Jeffries to accept the fight with Jack Johnson, which Jim Jeffries did accept. And they had that. I believe you could see it in YouTube. That was a great fight. It was rough for both people, Jeffries and Jack Johnson. But towards the end, Jack Johnson pulled ahead, and Jack Johnson, I think, was smiling with his signature smile, and he defeated Jim Jeffries. But Jim Jeffries tried to give him a good fight, and he had a lot of heart. So, and you could watch it in YouTube. These fights, you probably could watch it at YouTube. So, and that was his shining moment. That was Jack Johnson's shining moment when he defeated Jim J. Jeffries. He was called the Great White Hope, and they did a movie concerning the Great White Hope they did a movie with the Great White Hope, and it was a good movie. You could watch it on YouTube, and it talked about, it parallels the life of Jack Johnson, and the movie, the actor, I think is Earl Jones, I believe, the guy that passed away. He does the Jack Johnson role, and it is brilliantly done. He's in the movie. He's called Jack Jefferson, I believe, but it parallels the life of Jack Johnson, and it's a movie that I would recommend you watch. It's a real good movie, and so I would recommend you watch that. And let's move on. The other one that I believe that's number 6 is Evander Holyfield, and he won 4 times the title, and was a good champion. He had a lot of heart, and he was strong. And he still, not too long ago, he tried to get back on the comeback trail. He's a courageous fighter, a strong fighter, and I remember when he went up the ranks, he started to fight in the Olympics. Then he went on to light heavyweight, and then he went into cruiserweight, and then light heavyweight. And I think he won some championships. He fought with Dwight Braxton, and he beat him, and he won the championship. I think it was either cruiserweight or light heavyweight. And then he went into the heavyweight division, and that's when he showed a lot of heart. He really did show a lot of heart, and he fought the contenders of the time. I believe he fought Mike Tyson. Strong guy, has a lot of heart, so he deserves the number 6 spot. Number 7 is Floyd Patterson. I like his fast hands and his peekaboo style. He was a force to be reckoned with. He fought with Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali, I had named him as Rabbit. He fought with him 2 times. But his shining moment came when he fought Ingemar Johansson. They had 3 memorial fights. I think when he fought, I believe when he fought Ingemar Johansson, I believe it was the second fight, he knocked him down and knocked him out. He basically knocked him out. And Ingemar Johansson's foot was like this. It was like shaking like this, because of the impact of that blow. So it's a real good fight. If you have a chance to watch it, Ingemar Johansson with Floyd Patterson, the 3 fights that they had. But his shining moment came when he fought with Jimmy Ellis, for the World's Championship title. That was a fight that many thought that he had won, that Floyd Patterson had won. but Jimmy Ellis won that fight. Jimmy Ellis had just conquered the championship. I believe he had an elimination match with Jerry Quarry because of the vacancy that Muhammad Ali left. So he fought with Jimmy Swaggart. Jimmy Ellis fought with Jerry Quarry, and he won. Jimmy Ellis won, and he won the championship. And he was defending his championship against Floyd Patterson. It was his first defense, and he won by decision. Some people never did see that fight. I would like to see that fight. Maybe I'll get to see it on YouTube. A lot of people thought that Jimmy Ellis, Floyd Patterson had won that fight. Floyd Patterson was a strong guy. He was a strong guy, had a lot of heart, but he had quick hands. He had fast hands, and he moved around real good. He was great. He was great in the class in himself. And the only time that he really had a problem was with Sonny Liston, but Sonny Liston was too strong for him. But Floyd Patterson, he deserves the number 7 spot. Number 8 spot is Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier deserves the number 8 spot because he's the only man who have defeated Ali. Now I know that Ali got defeated by Ken Norton, and he got defeated by Leon Spinks, but he was the first man, and at that time, the only man to have defeated Ali. And like I said, there came afterwards Ken Norton, which broke Ali's jaw, and then Leon Spinks, and then Larry Holmes, and then other people. I think there was another boxer that defeated Ali, but he was the first guy, and during the time of 1973, the first and only guy during that time that defeated Ali. I think that Ali took him lightly. Ali was doing a comeback, and Joe Frazier had even helped him to do the comeback. And Ali was trying to stir up publicity, but many people felt like he went a little too far, and he humiliated Frazier so much so that Frazier got enraged, and he started to call him derogatory names. And let me say this to his credit: Joe Frazier is a quiet guy, minds his own business, hard-working guy, and here comes this guy Ali bragging and boasting and humiliating him, and it was all for publicity. But Joe Frazier got hurt. There were some things that hurt Joe Frazier. And towards the fight, when they were going to fight, Ali took his opponent. He didn't take his opponent seriously, and he toyed around with Joe Frazier, and he paid the price. Towards the 15th round, he almost got knocked down. He got knocked down by a left hook, and almost got knocked out. I saw the video, and even before the 15th round, there were times that Ali was in danger of being knocked down and knocked out. There was a time when Joe Frazier had him against the ropes, and he was fighting him, and he was near the ropes, and then he kind of leaned back, and the ropes held him up. If it wasn't for the ropes, that would have been considered a knockdown. Joe Frazier had a lot of heart. He was courageous. He keep on coming at you and coming at you and coming at you. He had a lot of heart. But I think that when he fought Ali, truth be told, it took a lot out of him. And when he fought George Foreman, he was already just a shell of what he used to be. Maybe if Joe Frazier would have been able to fight Foreman before he fought Ali, maybe that would have been a different outcome. I don't know. But George Foreman was too strong. I mean, this guy was too strong for Joe Frazier, for anyone. I mean, and he still is strong. But Joe Frazier deserves the number 8 spot because he was the first one during the 1971, I think it was 71 that they fought, March 8, 1971. He was the first and only man at that time to defeat Ali. Now bear in mind, Ali got defeated a couple of times with other fighters, but he was the first one to defeat Ali, to break his record of being undefeated. It was a classic fight because it was called the fight of the century, because here was two fighters. Ali was undefeated and Frazier was undefeated. They were going to meet, and one of them was going to lose their undefeated record. and it was a time of excitement. I tell you, it was a time of excitement. I remember that day, and I remember I was in school. I think in junior high school, and my father allowed me to see that fight, and I was sleepy. But when I saw Ali fall, I said, "Oh no," because Ali was my hero. I said, "Oh no," but it was a real good fight, and Joe Frazier deserves the number 8 spot. Lennox Lewis, 3 times heavyweight champion, had the heart of a lion too. Strong, courageous fighter. And then, last but not least, number 10, Mike Tyson, youngest fighter in heavyweight history to win a title. He was 20 years old, so he broke Patterson's record of 21 years old. Floyd Patterson was the youngest champion to win the heavyweight title. But then came Mike Tyson, 20 years old. He broke the record. So, and he was trained by Customato, his manager, and Customato was a good manager, and I like the way he goes about. Mike Tyson goes about like a marksman. He kind of aims, and he takes a few, but he gives a few, and he's a tough guy. He deserves the number 10 spot. And he's still strong. He's still coming on strong, and you never can write out the Mike Tyson, because you can see that he's strong. He takes care of himself, and he trains. So he deserves the number 10 spot. Now, concerning the trivia question, who was the first heavyweight to win the world championship title 2 times? The first one was Floyd Patterson. Floyd Patterson, when he fought Ingemar Johansson. He fought him, and he lost the title. And then for the second fight, Ingemar Johansson didn't train that much. He took Patterson lightly. He started to party, go out to social life, and everything, and go out with women. And in the second fight, he lost the title to Floyd Patterson, and Floyd became the first man to win the heavyweight championship 2 times. The first man to win the heavyweight champion for the first man to win it the second time. Amen. And let me say this one thing: Floyd Patterson got him in a third fight, and he defeated him by knockout. Floyd Patterson was a force to be reckoned with. And let me tell you, he was the first heavyweight to win the world heavyweight title 2 times. And let me tell you, you can't take that away from him. He passed away, but he's, in my opinion, he's considered one of the greats. So that's it for now. My thoughts about boxing. Also, if you check my channel, you'll see that I have a lot of recipes and a lot of natural remedies, and also some Christian music, because I am a pastor. So I do have some Christian music. I have a Christian podcast that I have there. So I have a little bit for everyone. So, I like to talk about sports. I like to talk about just about anything I could, talk about. And I like to talk about something that I know. And that's why I'm sharing some things about boxing, because it's what I know. So I thank you for joining me. And I hope to have more sessions of talking and sharing and just having fun together. So have a wonderful, wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I hope to do this again. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye now.